Participatory budgeting began in southern Brazil in 1990, and it was an effort among a local government and civil society organizations, community organizations, to directly involve citizens in making decisions about their municipal or city budget. The big question around these participatory programs is, do they matter? Do they have an impact? Why should we be doing these? People have claimed that they're schools of democracy. They empower citizens. Now, those are important, but Professor Mike Touchton and I, we were interested in this question of, do they affect how government spends its money? Do they affect people's quality of life? And we had some pretty significant findings.
We found that municipalities that have participatory budgeting systematically spend more on healthcare, on sanitation, on education, and then also experience improvements in outcomes, especially in healthcare, like infant mortality.
So we see that citizens have made 15% of the budget allows them to make some pretty big decisions totaling hundreds of millions of dollars over a couple of years.
What happens is local policymakers meet with some members of the public, and they come up with a list, sometimes 10, sometimes 20 possible projects, and then they present them to a wide variety of community members who attend a first meeting. Those people then vote, after hearing presentations, on the projects that they want to fund over the course of the next year. And the public, as well as public officials, monitor the implementation and completion of these projects.
In the United States, where this has been implemented, the process has been a little bit different. No city has adopted it citywide yet, but instead they've started at the district level, where a district in Chicago, a district in New York adopt it, and a city council member has allocated his or her resources from public funds in order to have citizens make decisions. The article that Touchton and I published was the first to systematically show this series of positive effects.
The statistical technique we used to tease out the connections between participatory budgeting and these infant mortality outcomes, as well as spending outcomes, is known as propensity score matching. It's a form of linear regression analysis wherein we literally use the computer to match up cities on as many dimensions as we possibly can. We want to hold those other dimensions that might influence the outcomes we're measuring as constant, as stable as possible. Then what varies is whether these cities have participatory budgeting in a given year.
The breakthrough with participatory budgeting is that citizens make specific decisions, the government then implements those decisions, which then creates an incentive for the people to return to the meetings, for the people to continue monitoring the government. So they tend to be less about complaints and more about finding constructive ways to solve problems. And I think that's the real breakthrough with these type of programs.